You may be seated. Won't you pray with me? God, this morning we give you thanks. We give you thanks for the ways that you invite us into relationship with you, the ways that you call us to be witnesses to your grace. God, I ask this morning that the meditation of my lips and of all of our hearts be pleasing in your sight, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Friends, it has been a tough week. On Monday, the day that I usually take Sabbath, I spent most of the morning and the early afternoon in a Zoom meeting for annual conference, which basically means we voted on a lot of stuff and talked about a lot of stuff and prayed about a lot of stuff in the future of the conference. And then on Tuesday, I did it all again. And I got to celebrate with some of my friends who were commissioned and ordained, and that was great. And then Tuesday, late afternoon into the evening, we got the news of the terrible incident in Texas, of the lives that were lost, of the children who would not get to go home from school. And I immediately started to pray. Because I knew that the next day, Elba would wake up and say, "Mom, is it a school day?" Because she loves going to school. And I knew that it would be with a heavy heart, full of prayer, that I would drop her off at school, because Wednesday for her is a school day. And we're getting, the number of days left in the school year are limited, so keeping her home did not feel like the right choice. It was hard. It was not something that I did as readily and easily as I have for the past 3 months that we've been bringing her to school. But on the way, we sang Moana. I said some prayers that she didn't hear. I pumped myself up, and with a smile, you dropped her off. Friends, I don't know what your week was like. I don't know if there are young school-age children in your life that you had a hard time stepping away from this week. I don't know if you have grandchildren that you said an extra prayer for this week. But let me tell you, if I had not had that moment of Moana taking Elba to school, I don't know if I would have been able to drop her off. Our text this morning, the text from Acts, continues our story from last week. We're still in Macedonia, it seems. We're traveling around as the Royal We group. We were teaching and praying and engaging with the community in the usual Paul kind of way. But then there is this person, an irritant, really, a buzzing fly that just won't leave us alone. A slave girl with a gift, a spirit of divination. And she ran after our group, like an annoying kid sister who keeps tagging along, wanting to be one of the cool kids. And she announces, no, she divines good stuff. Stuff that Paul would have said himself. These men are the slaves of the Most High God, who proclaim to you a way of salvation. Who could be upset by that? They're getting free advertisement. They've got a PR manager running in front of them. What a deal. Except it didn't feel like a deal. Her enthusiasm short-circuited any conversation that they might want to have. The big reveal was revealed too soon. Day after day she was there with the same tagline, like a bad commercial that keeps running in every break all day long. Finally, Paul just snapped, and he turned and he healed her. Just like that. He cast out that spirit of divination, effectively shutting her up for good. Then it all hits the fan. The owners of the slave girl just lost their meal ticket. They lost this golden goose that they had been given, and they weren't happy about it. They have Paul and the team arrested and invent some charges that may be based on truth, but probably aren't. They are stripped as a way of publicly humiliating them, and they are beaten as a way of extracting a pound of flesh for the loss of income. And then they are thrown into the inner jail, the jailiest part of jail, the maximum security hold. And naturally, when you're in a situation that you don't want to be in, or that you feel stuck, or that is so heavy, they started to sing hymns. Maybe it was the old rugged cross, or How Great Thou Art, or Amazing Grace. Probably not, but those are ones that we know, right? Those are ones that we can hold on to in times of trouble. Luke has a solo on that one, on Amazing Grace. All the hits, they sing them through their facial bruises and the cracking of their broken bones and the pain in their ribs. They sing rather than moan. They sing rather than complain. They sing, and the other prisoners locked away there in that rat-infested darkness listen to them sing and decide that they are either crazy or they're saints. Or maybe they're both. Then an earthquake happened. A natural occurrence? Well, maybe. Earthquakes happen, but it's funny how Luke describes the effect. He says the chains were unfastened. No, not that the chains were shattered or pulled from the wall or any other accidental freak accident freeing them, but he says that the chains were unfastened. Interesting, don't you think? And one seizes the moment and runs for freedom, and no one seizes the moment and runs for freedom. The gospel singers and their appreciative audience sit in the rubble, patiently waiting for whatever might be next. When they hear the scream from the jailer, the metallic unsheathing of the sword, and the ragged breathing of a man on the brink of despair, Paul shouts out, "We're here! Put away your sword." Then the jailer brings light into their darkness and kneels before the men he treated like dirt earlier in the day and says, "I want what you have that causes you to act like you did here." It was strange, out of the ordinary, unsettling. Their behavior was not normal. It was offensive to the status quo. They were upsetting the city. It was a part of transforming the world. Change is hard. That's the point. It will be resisted. But if we embrace this idea that we are change makers, change bringers, and we will be resisted and ignored and maybe even persecuted, we will persist. We will bring change. We will bring a new kingdom, a new way of living as the human community. We will struggle with it, and sometimes we will get it wrong. Paul's response to the girl who annoyed him is hardly worthy of the Christ he proclaims, even if the result was a positive one. Last week, we celebrated the status of a woman named Lydia in the life of the new movement. This week, we seem to have fallen back on social patterns of sidelining unnamed women. One step forward, two steps back. We are not perfect vessels of this perfect grace, but we will continue to be worthy of the gospel we proclaim. But we are in the business of disturbing the inadequate peace, challenging the status quo. In the next chapter, the charge gets even bigger. These people are turning the world upside down. What better legacy could we leave? We who are making disciples of Christ for the transformation of the world. Let's be about disturbing. Let's make some holy noise. Let's get things done in the name of Christ. May it be so. Amen.